Let's get into the Drake album ranking. I'm going to start with the worst one at number 8 and then go to number 1 at the best one. And I'm going to give you kind of my reasoning for why they're ranked where they're ranked. And, that's just my ranking. Like I said, it's my opinion, not including mixtapes, not including collab albums, none of that, just straight studio albums that is released. And I'm including For All the Dogs because I listened to it 4 times and was pretty sure on how I feel about it. Number 8, honestly, never mind. This album is Drake's worst album. Listen to it throughout this week because I knew I was going to be ranking Drake's albums. Listen to it. Was trying to find things that maybe the first time when it dropped and the second time I listened to it when it dropped that I missed or was like maybe I'm overreacting, but no. This album is just bad. It was a miss. It was house music. I salute his attempt, but it was a complete miss. Let me go over the track list and talk to you guys about what tracks I enjoyed, which there really isn't much. I enjoyed Jimmy Crooks with 21 Savage, and that really wasn't house music. That was a totally different. That was like a setup for her loss with 21 Savage. So that's it. That's all I enjoyed. Sticky was maybe a record that was good. You know how sticky you get. Yeah, but everything else I'm not a fan of. I could care less for this album. Just came and went to me. And the thing about this album universally is that it's like the Eminem Revival thing. Every Drake fan that I know that I'm friends with said they don't like the album. They just never listened to it. They listened to it once and just never listened to it again. So I think for the most part, 90% of people agree that this is Drake's worst album, and it can't get any worse than this in terms of albums from Drake. So that is number 8. Honestly, never mind. Number 7, For All the Dogs. Like I just reviewed earlier in the podcast, not really a great album, a 4 out of 10 for me. Only 3 tracks I thought were great on the album. Not good, but just great, really great records, which is that First Person Shooter, 8 a.m. in Charlotte, and, Far Away From Home or Away From Home. Why do I keep saying Far Away From Home? Yeah, it's Away From Home. Those 3 tracks I like, and the other ones, I Don't Give a Fuck What Yeet is all right. That other record, what's the title of the other one? The record, Amen, with Tizo Touchdown is all right. And then you got other tracks that are just straight up not good at all. It just sounds like Drake is lazy on this album. Sounds like he doesn't care. Sounds like he's just getting a product out there for people. Especially with the title, I was expecting more aggressive records, more bars, more rapping. Didn't get any of that. Too long of an album as well. Missed on that as well. Honestly, Nevermind was a short 14-track album, which could have been executed very well had it just been done the right way. 14 tracks is more than enough. I enjoy 14 tracks on albums. 16, maybe 18 at max, but anything over 18, I think, in my opinion, you're pushing it. I don't really want to hear, over an 18-track album. It's just too much. It's damn near double disc at that point. So, that's number 7. This album to me I don't think it's going to change. Maybe, since it's so new and I'm ranking it at 7, maybe it might change over the years. I doubt it. I highly doubt it. There is something on this list that changed for me because when I was listening to all of Drake's studio albums, I thought differently about this album, which I never thought I would, but I'll talk about it a little bit later. So number 7, For All the Dogs. Number 6, Certified Lover Boy. This is why I say Drake's recent run has been horrible. Besides the collab album with 21 Savage, which I, for the most part, enjoyed, and I think most people enjoyed, he's been on a bad 3-album run, I think. Certified Lover Boy isn't as bad as For All the Dogs, and Honestly Nevermind, but it's not to a Drake standard to me. It's not. It's a great album. I think it's not great, but I want to say good. So I'd give it like a 6 out of 10, maybe. Now that I've listened back to it too, it's like a 6 out of 10. So the ranking here is if it's 5 out of 10, it's average. 6 to 7 out of 10, it's good. 8 to 9 out of 10, it's great. And then 10 out of 10 is obviously classic. Anything below 5 out of 10, 4 out of 10, and all this is just bad. And then if it's like a 2, it's just dookie shit. 2 and 1 is just like dookie. But I give this album maybe a 6 out of 10. So it's a good. It's above average. It's a good album. It's nothing like it had Drake drop this. What am I talking about? Had Drake drop this earlier? I don't know. Maybe earlier in his career, I probably wouldn't have critiqued it as much. But when you have so much projects that he's dropped that are great, comparing it to them, it's like this album just doesn't, had Drake drop this as a second album, maybe I would have been like, okay, I could see where this is going. But yeah, this album didn't have much records to me that were like, whoa. I was like going back to let me go over some of the tracks here. Let's see. So you got Champagne Poetry was all right. Poppy's Home was all right. Girls Want Girls was pretty good. In the Bible was good. Love All was good. No Fair Trade, No Way Too Sexy, No TSU, NTD, No Pipe Down, a lot of these Knife Talk was good. I don't know, a couple of these other ones that I forget titles of and what I was listening to, but some of these other tracks were decent as well. So it had records here and there that were good, but the album just overall, like I said, 6 out of 10. It didn't stick with me like normal Drake albums did, and it's number 6 on the list for me, and that's when he released. I think that's his 6th album, maybe. Was it? Yeah. Was it a 6th? Yeah, it was the 6th album. So that's 6th album. So, number 5. And this is the album that I expected to be lower on my list. I honestly expected this album to be lower on my list. But after going back and listening to it, I was wrong in saying that he kind of fell off at this moment. Maybe because at that moment when I was listening to the album, I was comparing it to what he released previously on the run that he was on. And if you guys know what I'm talking about Views. Views is number 5, and I expected it to be lower because I remember when Views dropped, a lot of people were clowning a lot of the bars, a lot of the stuff he was saying, like, I got more chains than Channing Tatum, or, he just had lines there that people were clowning him for, and the album's just getting its own. That's the thing about a lot of Drake albums is they get shitted on when they first come out, which I don't understand. Over time, they get better for people, I think, and that's the fair criticism of what people do. It's unfair to Drake, obviously, but for these last 3, the Certified Lover Boy, For All the Dogs, and Honestly Nevermind, they haven't aged well for me. So that's when you know Drake's missing. Because at first, like when Views dropped, people were shitting on it, but as the years went on, people started enjoying it more and more, and people understood where he's coming from. That was his first time he sold 1 million records first week. First time he ever had a number 1 hit as a solo lead artist with One Dance. So he accomplished a lot at that album. And when I went back listening to it, I gave this album a lot of critique because think about this. Drake was on an insane run. Dropped Take Care, dropped Nothing Was the Same, then dropped If You're Reading This Is Too Late. Like that run right there was amazing. So I'm thinking Nothing Was the Same, If You're Reading This Too Late is just a mixtape. What the fuck is Views going to be? Boom drops. It didn't quite match those, but now going back to it, listening to it when I listened to it this past week, I was being a little too harsh on the album. I think it's a great album. I give it a 7, maybe 8. I could put it in damn near. Yeah, I'll give it a 7 out of 10. It had great records. Let me go over the track list here. People were clowning him. Like here's an example. The 9. Now it's upside down. It's a 6 now or some shit. People are clowning him for that. But Keep the Family Close. All right. 9 is all right. You With Me is dope. Hype is very dope. Western Road Flow is very dope. I think With You I enjoyed as well. Still Here, Controlla, One Dance, Pop Style, the Views title track, and Hotline Bling I enjoyed. So those are the records I enjoyed. I think Fire and Desire I enjoyed as well. I don't know. But I enjoyed a majority of this album. It was a really, really, it was long, once again, 20 cuts with the bonus cut of Hotline Bling, but it was a pretty good album, pretty good album. 7 out of 10. I enjoyed it. And I gave it too harsh of critiques at the time when it came out. So this is where I do feel like Drake was slowly, even though it was his most successful commercial album in terms of first week sales, number 1 hits, it just felt like it didn't have that chokehold that like the previous Drake albums had. I don't know. To me, never mind. I disagree with that. I'm tripping because One Dance was all over the fucking place. Hotline Bling was all over the place. I'm tripping on that. It did have that chokehold. I think I don't know why I'm thinking of it because of my anticipation of this album. That's where it's skewing my like thoughts about this album because of that insane run Drake was going on, and then all of a sudden Views drops, and to me it doesn't live up to that run. I critique it a lot harsher than I do other albums. So it was a great album. It had its chokehold on music at that moment as well. So I take that back. It did have its chokehold. So to me, that is number 5. Number 4 is Scorpion. This was the last time Drake was dominant, like clear dominant. Nobody could say records that were on the radio constantly playing, like I just talked about earlier on the podcast. This album was amazing in its own right. I think it was an 8 out of 10. I could give it an 8 out of 10. It was a very, very great album. The problem with it, this is the number one problem with this album. It was way too long. Way too long. A lot of these records could have just been, taken out. And a lot of it would have been great. Like, I like the fact that he split it with rap and R&B. I enjoy it. I'm glad that he finally did that once, tried it out. And it went well. Like, the rap side, love Nonstop, love Elevate, love God's Plan, love I'm Upset, love 8 out of 10, love Mob Ties. I think I like Talk Up with Jay-Z. I like Sanders Rose a little bit too. So Talk Up with Jay-Z is pretty cool. So like what? I'm talking about out of the 12 tracks, I like 8 of them. 9. That's good. That's very good. That means you're doing great. Going the R&B side, I like Jaded. I like Nice for What. I like That's How You Feel. Blue Tint in My Feelings. Don't Matter to Me with Michael Jackson was fire. It don't matter to me. Like, that should have been pushed a lot more. I felt like they could have got a number one, beat it, that type of number one. So I enjoyed it. I enjoyed this album a lot. I think this is the last time Drake really had a great album to me where I could be like, he's dominating and he delivered a great project. But this is what I mean. This is why this album was great too, because he was battling Pusha T and Kanye. He was having these things ignite him. You know what came out of that fucking battle? Mob Ties, one of my favorite Drake songs of all time, Mob Ties. And that came because he was sitting with LeBron James in that show that he has, that barber show where they're sitting and chilling. He said Mob Ties came from all this. It came from all this, beef with Pusha T and Kanye. This is what I mean. Drake, every artist needs some type of battle and beef to get the best out of him. And Mob Ties is one of the best Drake tracks of all time. I think anybody disagreeing with that is just tripping. Mob Ties is just the sound of that song. It feels mob. Like, I feel like I'm fucking part of the Sopranos or some shit. It's a fire record, man. And that's what sparked him, is that battle, that competition, to put that on there. Because this album wouldn't be as great if it didn't have Mob Ties on there. So that's what I mean. Drake should compete more. This is proof of it. I really enjoyed this album. God's Plan is one of my favorites as well. God's Plan. But I like that record with Michael Jackson. It don't matter to me. How the beat goes. It's fire, man. This album was great. I enjoyed this album a lot. Number 4, Scorpion. Here is my top 3 Drake albums. Top 3. Thank Me Later is at number 3. I really, really love Thank Me Later. I think Thank Me Later is criminally underrated for Drake, even though he didn't have that huge commercial success, because Over didn't really chart that well, and then Find Your Love was good. It charted at number 5, I think, on the Billboard. But it had the features, it had everybody kind of contributing in the right way, and I enjoyed it, man. Fireworks, amazing track. Great way to start the album. Fireworks. The noise of the fireworks, great. Over, I love. Show Me a Good Time. Oh yeah. I just didn't like Karaoke and The Resistance. I think those 2 tracks were all right. Up All Night, that beat is devious, man. Who the fuck? Boy Wonder, Nicki Minaj killed it. Fancy. Oh, you fancy, huh? Oh, you fancy. That killed it. Shut It Down. Dream killed it. Unforgettable, Jeezy killed it. Light Up. Oh my God, don't even get me started with Light Up. And Jay-Z predicted a lot of that. Miss Me, amazing. Find Your Love, amazing. Thank Me Now, amazing. So this album is damn near a classic, man, to me. Damn near. It was very close. You Can Thank Me Now even ended off pretty good, man. So it's missing a couple, like the CC's interlude, interludes, whatever. Wasn't a fan of The Resistance and Karaoke. But other than that, I enjoyed it, man. So 3 tracks and it wasn't super long of an album, 14 tracks. This is what I mean. 14 tracks. Don't fucking extend them to what they're extended to. You get greater music with shorter albums. And this is my point here. So I give this album 8.5, damn near a 9. It's basically a 9 to me because, 3 tracks out of 14? That's 11 out of 14. That's basically a 9 to me. So I enjoyed the fuck out of this album. I still go back to it here and there and listen to it, especially like records like Light Up, Up All Night, Unforgettable with Jeezy, Fireworks too, Fireworks. It's just amazing, man. Enjoyed it. So number 2 and this is where a lot of people debate me and say this, no, I like this album more. Take Care is number 2. And there's a reason why I put it at number 2, and that's not a bad ranking at all. Number 2 is, what the fuck's wrong with number 2? Shit. First is the worst, second is the best, third is the one with the polka dot dress. So there you go. No, I'm just playing. Number 2, Take Care. I think the album hit on everything. I just think it was too R&B-ish for me, one. It was a lot longer. Now you're looking with the iTunes bonus tracks, you're looking at 20 records. Without that, you're looking at 18. And the fact that 4 of the tracks off this album were co-written, co-produced, whatever the fuck you want to call it. They were with The Weeknd. The Weeknd contributed to 4 of these tracks on this album. So let's go over the album. Over My Dead Body, I enjoyed. Headlines, it's a shot for me, I didn't really enjoy. Headlines, I enjoyed. Crew Love, Take Care, Marvin's Room, Buried Alive interlude, Underground Kings. Oh my God, it's probably one of my favorites, man. We'll Be Fine. I enjoyed Make Me Proud, Lord Knows. The Camera says Good Ones Go, or that was all right. Doing It Wrong, that was all right. The Real Her, Look What You've Done. Look what you've done to me. Like, I love that record too. Hell Yeah, Fucking Right. Practice. Tun, tun, tun. I got to bump this album, again, fully. Because I've been bumping a lot of these Drake albums throughout this week. But this one, I got to go through fully. The Ride is all right. So, The Motto I love. Hate Sleeping Alone I love. So, you're looking at, out of a 20-track album, there's 1, 2, 3. 3 tracks I don't like out of a 20-track album. So, that tells you right there why it's number 2. Out of 20 tracks, only 3 I don't like. This is a 9, damn near 9.5 to me. Nailed it, man. I think this is where I realized, this is where I was like, okay, this guy is not just like a joke. This guy is like legitimately a great artist. And then the number 1 album from Drake, this is when I realized Drake is the man. This is the guy. This is the guy moving forward. This is what we're going to be listening to for a while. This guy isn't going anywhere anytime soon. And that is number 1 album from Drake, Nothing Was the Same. I think anybody debating, arguing that this album isn't the best album from Drake is out of their mind. This album, even Drake himself says, was the perfect balance between singing and rapping, and everything was just executed perfectly at that time. On top of that, there was a lot of discussion about who is the best, because Cole was coming up, Wale, Kendrick, and Drake was still, is Drake this guy? Is he the number 1 solidified guy? Because Kendrick had dropped Good Kid, Mad City. Wale had dropped Ambition. J. Cole had dropped The Cole Story, and then was dropped Born Sinner, which I could argue with you guys. Born Sinner is the best album to drop in 2013, but people want to argue, I like Born Sinner more than Nothing Was the Same, but that's just my opinion. We can get into that later. Regardless, Nothing Was the Same was just perfect. At that moment, because when Nothing Was the Same, I finally graduated high school in 2013. It was I graduated in May of 2013, then went to college, and when the album came out was when I started college. The reason why I mention it is because when I was in high school and Drake dropped Thank Me Later and Take Care, I would argue with people about hip-hop all the time. I'd say, Drake. So I would have this kind of, not hate towards Drake, but I would be like, man, Drake, okay, he's delivered some good albums, okay, but they're not that great. They're not like 50. They're not like M. They're not like, Wayne, or whoever the fuck I was talking about, comparing him to like other artists. But, I had graduated, got to college, so I couldn't really argue with the same people musically. I was arguing with different people. But at this moment, I realized, okay, Drake is that guy. There's no trying to argue it, debate over it. When Nothing Was the Same dropped to me, boom, it's stamped that, hey, I fuck with Drake. Drake is one of the best artists that's ever come out in hip-hop. Nothing Was the Same to me. Let's go over the album. Is just perfection. Like, there isn't a single track I dislike on this album. That's why it's a classic to me. That's why I give it a 10 out of 10. Let's go over it. Tuscan Leather, one of the greatest intros. How long is this intro for? Just fucking killing it. Furthest Thing from Perfect. Like, everyone I know, I've been creeping on low. Like, come on, bro. Started from the bottom, now we here. Wu-Tang Forever. Own It. Own It. I love that fucking Own It. Worst Behavior from Time. Hold On, We're Going Home. Connect. The Language. Oh, I love the language, man. I don't know why the Lions. Like, I fucking love that. 305 to My City. Too much, too much, too much. I love that record too. That's one of my favorite Drake songs of all time. And then Pound Cake with Paris Morton Music too, featuring Jay-Z. Then even the bonus tracks were fucking fire. Come Through, All Me, that's All Me. And then The Motion. I love, that is one of my favorite tracks. I just this emotion. Mhm. Oh my god, I was going through my own emotional shit with girls at the time, so that record sticks with me, the emotion especially. But yeah, there's nothing that I dislike on this album. It's perfection. This is perfection. And then what? Here's my point. It wasn't long, man. It wasn't drowning you with 90 million records. This is why Drake is missed with a lot of these newer albums. It's just too fucking long. I don't want to hear a 20, 25, 23 track album. Scorpion was 24. For All the Dogs, 23. Certified Lover Boy, 19, 20, whatever. Like, all these albums are too long, bro. This was a 13-track album without the bonus cuts. You add the bonus cuts, it's 15 tracks. Then you add the Best Buy Deluxe, International Deluxe, it had 16. So you had to buy a fucking bonus of a bonus album just to get 16 tracks. That's why I like this album, man. Great balance of R&B and rap. And when he was rapping, it was that aggressive rap, that language, Tuscan leather talk. Like, that's what I like from Drake. I like that. I like that aggressive, like, I don't know why the fuck they've been lying, but nope, your shit's not that inspiring. Like, I think he was going at Kendrick on that bitch, man. So that's what I'm saying, man. This was the more aggressive Drake, the more balanced Drake, the more accurate, articulate. Everything was in motion for this guy. When this album dropped, I was like, all right, this is the guy. I can't debate it. I can't argue it. There's nobody dropping better music than this. Nothing was the same. Obviously, I like Born Center, J. Cole's Born Center. I can argue that with you guys another time. But I like Born Center. When J. Cole dropped Born Center, I automatically called it a classic. I knew off the rip. I loved every fucking track off that album, and it's a long album. How long is Born Center? I got to remind myself, because that bitch was like, it had even a deluxe version, which included the third installment of his series that he had. I forget what the fuck it was, but so the standard version of Born Center is 16 tracks. So already it's matching Nothing Was the Same deluxe version. And then you had the deluxe edition with the Truly Yours 3, and that had another, 5 tracks. So it's 21 tracks in total, and that motherfucker did not miss out on all those 21 tracks. That's why I say Born Center is the better album. But that's a whole different, I'm getting too hyped up on that. A whole different debate. But Born Center was a whole fucking, like, that was a monster, bro. That was a monster album. Anyways, Nothing Was the Same. Perfectly executed. At this moment, to me, it was between, it was like so hard because Kendrick dropped Good Kid, Mad City, and I was just like, man, who the fuck are these three guys? Who am I going to like the most? When Kendrick dropped Good Kid, Mad City, I was losing my mind. I was like, yeah, Kendrick's the guy, because I felt that was better than Take Care. Then J. Cole drops Born Center. I'm like, this is the fucking guy right here. This is the guy that got it. Classic. Then I go to fucking Drake drops Nothing Was the Same. I was like, yes, this is the guy. I don't know who the fuck's the guy. That's when hip hop was fun. Like I'm saying, right now we're not having those moments. We need moments like that. Anyways, Nothing Was the Same is Drake's best album. Perfectly executed, classic, top to bottom. You know, there's no misses for me. Even the bonus tracks, like nothing missed on this album. I think I could see where people like Take Care, but that Weekend stuff, and then some of the tracks were just too slow and too, if you like the R&B, Drake, I get it, but this had like a good R&B of Drake that was like, okay, you know what, I could fuck with this. This isn't like something that's like, from time, what's up? It's been a minute. Like, that was fire. Like, everything about it was fire. Just hold on, we're going home. Fuck, man, we're going home to hits, classics. Anyways, Drake nailed this. I think this is Drake's best album. And this is why I critique Views so hard, because Drake had dropped Take Care. Great fucking album, damn near classic. 9.5 out of 10. Then drops Nothing Was the Same, 10 out of 10. Then drops If You're Reading This Too Late, which is a fucking 9 to 9.5 out of 10. Fucking amazing mixtape. Then goes to Views. And it was like, okay, I was expecting like fucking Nothing Was the Same, and If You're Reading This Is Too Late on steroids. But I get it. He had a great run. But that's my Drake album ranking. Number 8, Honestly Nevermind. Number 7, For All the Dogs. Number 6, Certified Lover Boy. Number 5, Views. Number 4, Scorpion. Number 3, Thank Me Later. Number 2, Take Care. And number 1, Nothing Was the Same. I think in the future I'm going to rank everything that Drake has dropped. I think that's going to be another one that I want to do, where I just include the mixtapes and include the joint albums and everything. But this is why I'm saying Drake has lost his touch, because The lowest ranked albums are the most recently released one because they're not that good. Certified Lover Boy, For All the Dogs, and Honestly Nevermind. That 3-album run, like I said, I can make the argument that it's the worst 3-album run from a hip hop artist of his level. Don't compare it to fucking Soulja Boy. I'm talking the top dogs: Kanye, Eminem, Jay-Z, Nas, Drake, J. Cole, Kendrick. Those top dogs that are releasing music. It's probably the worst 3-album run. Like Eminem gets critiqued. Eminem had a bad 2-album run with MMLP2, which I know some people are like, oh, I love Marshmallow's LP2. It was all right. Then you got Revival, which was horrible, which is like Drake's Honestly Nevermind. Horrible. And then it bounced back with Kamikaze. But Drake's been on this like 3-album run that's been, it's like Certified Lover Boy was all right. Then it just got horrible with Honestly Nevermind. Then it got a little bit better with For All the Dogs. But yeah, it's a bad album run, man. And that's it. That's it for me talking about Drake right now. I know this whole podcast is about Drake, but I wanted to touch that. I want to touch down about Drake's music, Drake's career. I think he needs that break. He should get that break. And let's make it very clear that Drake is one of the best artists that's ever existed, period. I think anybody clowning him, saying that he's not, or saying that he gets people written, no, he's written for other people. So that whole, if you're reading This Is Too Late with Quentin Miller, that was just for that mixtape. There's moments where artists have gotten help writing things. All artists have done it at a certain point. And it's all right if you get help with hooks and stuff like that. And a lot of that was Drake's giving out hits to people. So Drake gets critiqued for that and little things here and there. He gets critiqued a lot, but that's the standard he set for himself. And, when you're at that level, you get critiqued about everything. LeBron James gets critiqued about literally every fucking thing he does. And it's like, bro, it's not that fucking serious. Oh, LeBron's a crybaby. LeBron does. So it's like the same shit with Drake. He's getting critiqued about everything. So at this point in his career, take a break. You've solidified yourself as one of the greatest of all time. You're breaking all these records. You've had the longest run in hip hop ever. Because nobody's ever taken, he hasn't taken a break. Dropped an album every other year, damn near. So, or a project or something, or featured on something, or did something, or helped an artist do this or that. So, salute Drake, man. I think a lot of his critiquing is crazy, but Drake is obviously at the top of his game, has been one of the best. So he's going to get critiqued the most about things. And that's just what comes with the territory. But to clown Drake and say he's garbage, he's not talented, you're just a hater at that point. I think people who say that, who just clown Drake and say, oh, he's an R&B, he's this. No, man, the guy can rap. The guy spanked Meek Mill, but spanked Common. Other artists have spanked him, but he's not like he wasn't holding his own. The whole Pusha T thing. I think, Pusha T did his thing, and in my opinion, sorry, I hit my face with the mic. In my opinion, won in that battle, but Drake, Duppy, the Duppy freestyle is hard, man. To say that Drake didn't do his thing in it is also another type of hating type of thing. But yeah, man. Shout out to Drake, one of the greatest to ever do it. Take that break. It's well deserved. You've delivered, music for people to consume for a while, man. Take a 3-year to 5-year hiatus. I'm all for it. I welcome it. And hopefully you come back with something that's like, it's like undeniable. Like that Nothing Was the Same, Take Care, Views, Scorpion, those albums that were like so dominant that we were just hearing about you 24/7. I think that's still possible with Drake. If you could bet against anybody, it shouldn't be Drake. Drake can deliver you guys hits. That's always been proven, back to back to back. So, yeah, salute to Drake, man. Despite this, For All the Dogs not being that great, we cannot, dismiss his career and be like he's garbage. He's not. That's wild. That's wild to say, and I will never say that. That'll never come out of my mouth. I think a lot of what is released recently isn't good, but that happens, man. Every artist has their ups and downs. There were moments where I thought J. Cole, like right now, everybody thinks J. Cole is one of the best ever, and he rightfully so. But there were moments where I was like, what the fuck is this For Your Eyes Only? That album to me, I did not like. I think it's his worst album ever. Then he dropped KOD, and I was like, it's not bad. It's okay. So Cole has those moments. I could argue Kendrick, I don't know. Kendrick to me hasn't really had those moments. I think I liked every album. So, I mean, Kendrick, but then again, Kendrick took a 5-year hiatus, so it's like a huge gap. So he's still got a lot more to drop. He's only dropped, if you count the Section 80 album, he's dropped what? Section 80, Good Kid, Mad City, To Pimp a Butterfly, damn, 5 albums. So without counting that, because it wasn't a major label, he's dropped 4. So He's still got a lot more to drop. Um, but he's getting his own critique, like the Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers. A lot of people saying that shit was ass, which I don't think so. I enjoyed a lot of tracks off there. I still bump a lot of tracks on that album. But yeah, everybody has their moments, man. There's nothing wrong with an artist having a slump and people not liking something, man. Nobody's perfect. You know, as much as we thought Drake is perfect, there's going to be moments where you're just not delivering what you're delivering. You're uninspired. The flame runs out. That's why I'm saying he should beef. He should battle. Because when that happens, we get a fucking mob ties. We get a back-to-back. We get these you get these dope records that people enjoy. So, you know, even the language, that's subliminal shots at Kendrick that people are saying. So, you know, records like that just are fire. They're undeniable fire. So, salute to Drake.